Good morning. So had written coffee, then retracted it. Andy says, "Good morning. Congratulations. How many pups did she have? Look like three. They are to be all black." Well, she had three pups. Two of them's got a little white spot on their forehead. One of them, it looks like angel wings. So I may call that one Angel. So he says, "Okay." He says, "Coffee, cigarette, computer. Okay, I'm all set. Good morning, cousin Andy. Good morning, cuz. Hey, how do I sound this morning?" Andy says, "Good morning, Steve. Good, clear, and crisp." Well, I'm going to show you guys my Christmas present. I got a fancy microphone. I can even whisper and it picks up. Did you hear my whisper? See, that's what's so cool. This is what I got for Christmas from Zach and Jenna. And they all loved all those boots that I made them. Let's see. Steve says, "Good, clear, and crisp." Amy says, "You sound good." Andy says, "You sound good, like your nose is a little stuffy." Yeah, I'm always a little stuffy. Amy says, "Wow, impressive whisper." Andy says, "That sounds awesome. I heard your whisper." Steve says, "You have a better mic than Zach has." that's what that's what Zach said. He says, "Now you out of all the Quail channels, you got the best mic now." And he said, "That was so cool of them." That's funny. Yeah, and even glows pretty. See the colors? I just love it. And I just hooked it up last night. Amy says, "That was really considerate gift." Yes. See, I made the whole family, every one of them, a pair of crocheted slippers, and they all loved it. Yeah, Andy, I agree. Oh, rainbow. Okay, now I did have a questions from Katrina. She wondered how the celery and all that came out of the freeze dryer. This is 2 trays of celery that I dehydrated. She asked about the strings. Yeah, you don't see the strings or you don't feel the strings when, you eat it freeze dried, but when it rehydrates, the strings go right back to how they were. This is 1 tray of bok choy. And this is 1 tray of sliced mushrooms. So no strings freeze dried until you rehydrate them. When you rehydrate them, the strings are there again. But when you chop them up, it doesn't really matter. Now you can see in some of these, you can actually see where the strings were. Amy said, "Nothing beats the gift of warm feet." Andy says that would be a nice, pretty nightlight too. Yeah, but I don't want the microphone on when I'm sleeping. It might pick up some things I don't want anybody to know. She says, so no strings freeze dried. Not really. Amy says, what size harvest right do you have? I have a medium. Because says if you grind them to powder and add salt, you can make your own celery salt. Exactly, cuz. But I don't use celery salt. I don't use garlic salt and stuff like that. I use garlic powder or celery powder. And he says, I didn't think about that. Let me put this over. I'll put this over here for right now. But that there is everything is ready that if you want to add it to your soup, all you got to do is throw it in. Or if you want to powder it for seasoning, you can do that too. All you got to do is run it through your blender. Another thing I got today, I got this week was, let me see where I put it. This here is a brake bleeder. This is all a setup so I can vacuum a jar without having to have everything else ready. Let's see how this went back in there. So if I open up a jar and want to reseal it, I can do it one at a without having to put a bunch of stuff in. And he says, I use powdered and not salt also. Yeah, because I don't do a lot of salt because I was so many years, my belated husband I had to watch his salt because his blood pressure was high. Gus says, I'll try powder. I love celery salt and egg salad, tuna salad, chicken salad, and deviled eggs and stuff like that. And he says, is the mic changing colors? That is cool. I think it does a red. Yeah, red goes in and out. It goes yellow and green. Yeah, it changes colors. Oh, there's even purple. Yeah, and if I tap the top of it, it'll put me on mute. Now you guys can hear it all. So little mama had her kits Wednesday during live stream. Now, I did weigh them yesterday. Don't tell me I didn't put that one in here. Ah, here it is. I couldn't weigh Big Mama because she's due any day. And so I didn't weigh Black Papa because it would aggravate Big Mama. But Rusty's 1 pound, 4 ounces, just like I said, that was my goal to get him over a pound before harvesting. Shadow's 1 pound, 0.8 ounces. And Two-Face is 1 pound, 1.8 ounces. Now, little mama, I'm going to tell you the personalities. Big mama's a biter. Little mama's a lover. And her babies are not afraid of me because she's teaching them to come up to me when I open up the cages. Little Mama is back down to 1 pound, 11.3 ounces. Skunk Face is 2 pounds, 2.4 ounces. Baby 1 is solid black, doesn't have a white spot on her, and that's 3.7 ounce. Baby 2 is 3.5 ounce with a little white streak, a little dot that with the long hair. And baby 3 is 3.4 ounces, and that's the one that looks like it has a white wing on it. She says, "Oh, that's what grafted Homestead use." Yeah, grafted branch. Yeah, I think he does. Annie says, "When I was in school, we had minestrone soup. We used powdered seasonings. It was so good. I went home and made it for my family. My mom only had salts, not powders. It was so salty we didn't need it." That's one reason why I don't use salts. See, I have mandarin orange powder. I have navel orange powder. I have powdered eggs. In fact, that's what I'm eating right now. Um, I can make mushrooms into a powder if I wanted to. You can make your own tang. True. Addie says, "I learned not to use salts after that and just stick with powders, LOL." Yeah, because even when I add salt, I add very little, just enough to enhance flavors, not enough to so you can taste it. Because I was always taught salt belongs on the table so everybody can adjust their own. Because when you use it on the table, then you don't use as much. See, yeah, that's really color changing a lot. Annie says she was told that too. Okay, now I couldn't wait, Big Mama, because any day she's going to have her pups. She is so big. Now her babies are just like she is. They will bite. If they don't like what you holding them, they'll bite you, just like she'll do it. But little mama's babies are just good natured all around. And I'm surprised the quail are quiet right now. Had one earlier that was crowing. And he says, "Have you felt the babies move in the belly yet? I think it is so cool to feel." Andy, I couldn't pick her up. And I don't want to try to do that because I don't want to stress her out and put her in labor at the wrong time or cause her to miscarry. But I got 3 babies I gotta process. I may keep Rusty. Amy says, "My quail are having a party, 5 weeks old today, and separating them out." Yeah, mine are 5 weeks old today. And with jumbo whites, yeah, they have to be at least 5 or 6 weeks old before you can find out. And when that weather went through the severe change, so that was a Thursday, I was sicker than a dog, but next day I was back to normal. That's because the big old front came in. Andy says, "I would put my hand under or around their bellies without picking them up when they don't want me to." Andy, she doesn't want your hands around her belly. She's one that was never became hand friendly. It's against her demeanor. She's just a wild one. And he says, "I had one crazy guy crowing when he hit 4 weeks. I've had him crowing at 3 weeks." And he says, "Oh, gotcha. I played with mine a lot when they were babies." Well, I got her as an adult, and she was, yeah. She likes to come up when you're trying to open up her cage, and you go to hand her something, she'll give you a nibble, a little bite. And she's got one of her babies will actually do that too. This time I'm gonna leave the babies on the mama. Um, I'm gonna try at least 5 weeks with the babies on the mama and see what happens. See if they grow faster. And he says, "I got my eggs I won yesterday." Where did you win them at, Andy? Or how did you win them? Oh, wow. My cup and my mic kinda match, both of them rainbows. Oh, from Thieving Otter Farms, okay. Hey, cuz, did you fall asleep? And Amy, what type of quail do you have? Cuz his nap time is not for several hours. And he says, "I kept my promise that I would not hatch any more last year, ha ha." Yeah, that was an easy one, wasn't it, Andy? Now, if you say it this year, you'd be, in trouble. Amy says, I found out just how bad I am at sexing." Amy, what type of quail do you have? Do you have jumbo whites or what? That's so fun. I have a big chore list to complete today. We'll see how that goes. Oh, a honey-do list, huh? And he says the new eggs are a mixed batch. Aaron says, "Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Aaron. And look at my Christmas present, Aaron." And Aaron says, "Look up a couple lines." I looked and I don't see. And the Domestead said, "Good morning, Julia here." Good morning, Julia. Aaron says, "That's awesome." Amy says, "Modern day lava lamp." Feather Connection Home says, "As far as sex and Quail, talk to Thomas de Viler. He can vent sex as early as likely a week or so. It's amazing. He sent me a video." Also, who runs Thieving Otter Farms? She says, "Kelly, he should post the video online." Yes, he should. Andy says, "The quail I have already jumbo pharaohs, calico, pansy fees, and celadons." Yeah, Amy, I can see where you say you found out how bad you are at sexing, but I don't see what type you said they are. Julia says, "How old were your quail when they first started laying?" Mine are getting close to being 6 weeks old. Then, Julia, I would say, do you have light on them? Like 16 to 18 hours light? If so, they could be laying anytime now. Kelly says, "SO, I'm not sure why he has it. He's got insane knowledge and so humble." Oh, I missed it. She said mixed. Okay. I thought that was Andy saying mixed. Julie says they're outside, but yeah, I might have to add some light. Thank you. Yeah, you wanna give them about 16 hours of light, uh, so that they'll think it's springtime and time to lay. She says, "Now I'm confused on who we are talking about. That's why I don't host." Amy B says, "The last batch was German pastels. That was the disaster. I ended up with 4 out of 18 that hatched out of the 25. It wasn't the fault of my charm. Most that I thought were female weren't." Ah. Did you let Zach know your hatching rate, Amy? Kelly says, "Verna, what's your favorite quail color?" White winged jumbos are my favorite. White winged jumbo pharaohs. Jumbo white winged pharaohs. S.O. Swanson says, "Don't say green, huh?" No, that's Jasmine. She likes a deep, moody green, but if I was to go with green, I would have to say emerald green. Amy says hatch rate was about 70% for the German pastels. Oh, okay, that's good. But you still let him know he likes to know all of his hatch rates on shipped eggs. Andy says, "I was looking into the cages and see rainbows, haha." Amy says, "Yes, I tell him on the live stream." Yeah, that's always great. 7 people here, only 5 likes. Give me a thumbs up, people. Let's see if we can get it up to 20 today. There, you heard one rooster, didn't you? So far, I've heard, "What'd you say?" Like that one said. I heard, Oh my god. Jasmine says, "Good morning." C says his 2 are in. Now C's AFK. Good morning, Jasmine. Look at my Christmas present. Amy says, "The Feathers Expo got pretty funny. They sent a few extra eggs and more than 25 hatch. So I told them my rate was more than 100%. Buster says, "Hi to all, just got here." Good morning, Buster. Glad to have you. And Andy says, "Good morning." Jasmine says, "Very nice mic." Yep, I love it. And it changes color too, which makes it neat. Let you guys watch that instead of my face. Jasmine says, "You sound great, and I love the colors." Hey, Jasmine, you want to get a kick? I can whisper and you can still hear me. Did you hear me, Jasmine? Pretty funny, isn't it? I love new toys. Amy says, "You are cracking me up, Verna." Hey, laughter is the best medicine. I'm in a lot of pain today, so I need to laugh a lot. But little mama gave birth at 3 pups, and big mama's due any day. In fact, let me go check on her real quick. No babies, but a lot of squealing in there from me walking in. Oh. Now, is there any more questions today? I had to play along with that brake bleeder, um, and start vacuuming up some of these jars so that I don't have to wait and put it in. Another thing is my water distiller came in, so that means no more purchasing water and being at the mercy of the grocery stores. Because I did 2 gallons of um, water yesterday. Andy says, "Are you gonna video when you process the Kai?" Andy, I'll probably show the process of when it's done, not exactly when I'm doing it. Amy says, "Yes, when can I put my set together? My hens are too young at 5 weeks." Amy, I'm gonna tell you what I do myself. You know, they recommend for you to wait until they start laying because the males mature faster than females. But, as soon as I can sex them, I put them in breeding sets then. Jasmine says, "I am making cinnamon rolls this morning as well, have friends from out of town visit the farm." That is wonderful, Jasmine. Oh, and homemade cinnamon rolls. Kelly says, "Sorry, been MIA. It's been a crazy mess over here. Still sorting things out with my kids' school." Yes, homeschool is a better option. I did that many years ago. Julia says, "What is your favorite quail recipe?" I know you probably get that question all the time. Now, I wanna tell you, since I cook just for myself, I'm a lazy cook because I don't have anybody to please, and I love cooking for crowds. What I do is I get my slow cooker out, I put vegetables on the bottom, whether it's sweet potatoes or other types of vegetables. I put, like, squash and that, put that on the bottom. I put the quail on top, and I like pouring condensed cream of mushroom soup on top of the quail, put the lid on, put it on for 3 hours, and then that's dinner. Let's see. Jesse says, "Hiya, Steve." Kelly says, "Would you ship Kai meat? I want to taste it." Well, Kelly, no, I wouldn't ship it unless I freeze dried it, and then I would have to cook it to freeze dry it because I don't like, freeze drying raw meat. She says, "I can't find my invite for the cinnamon rolls." And he says, "She could freeze dry it and send us all some, ha, ha, ha." Julia says, "Steve, sounds like you have to make your own." She says, "Apparently." Julia says, "That sounds great." Jasmine says, "We use a Berkey water filter here. We have well water, and our neighboring farms like to spray Roundup, and it leaches enough to make me uncomfortable drinking the water from the tap." Yeah, I tried a Berkey mock-up, but I didn't like their filtration because it left more debris in the water. So I'm gonna have to get some Berkey filters to put in mine. Julie says, "Anybody bother collecting the livers, or is it not worth it?" Julia, when I harvest my quail, I feed Lucy the intestines as I'm processing. But the heart, livers, gonads, unprepared eggs, lungs, all go into a bowl for me to freeze dry for Lucy. Jasmine says, "Come on over, V and SO." I would love to, but I had no way to get there, Jasmine. She says she can't promise any be left, though. Yeah, we keep the livers. See, I keep all of that, and I save it for I freeze dry it for Lucy. Let me show you one of the freeze dry packs. I have it there. Well, I don't have any out right now that I can get to right away from of Lucy's stuff because she gets them as treats too. And let me see. Yeah, we keep the livers. We keep it all just like Verna. Jasmine says she got her thumbs up in. Thank you, Jasmine. Steve says 5 hour drive for me. It'll all be gone. Jasmine says, "Got to get some coffee." Yep. See, I got a rainbow mic and I got a rainbow cup today. Now, I thought I saw Aaron in here, and I haven't seen him typing since then. Julia said, "Jasmine, my mom, German, coats liver with flour, then fries it with a ton of fine sliced onions, and we have mashed potatoes with it." Yeah. She says today is pickled egg day, so you got off lucky. Dawn says, "Good morning from South Central Illinois." Good morning, Dawn. I got to show you my Christmas present that I got from Jenna and Zach. And Jasmine says, "That sounds delicious, Domestead." Julie said, "Geez, I was looking forward to making mayonnaise and found out I'm pregnant yesterday. Guess it's another year. Congratulations, Julia." She says, "Aaron must be working." I agree, because he said hi and then hasn't said anything since then. Moon Outdoors. Hi, Verna and I. Oh, hi, Moon Outdoors. Good to see you. Julia said, "Thank you." Do you know when the due date is, Julia? And Moon Outdoors, I haven't seen you in a while. So glad you can make it today. Now, for those who weren't here earlier, this here is freeze-dried mushrooms, sliced mushrooms. This here is freeze-dried bok choy. This is one tray. Now, this is 2 trays of chopped celery, freeze-dried. And Dawn says, "Steve, I took your advice on selling eggs you gave me on Wednesday show here, and sold every single egg I had yesterday. Started low, $3.50, with insert for 50 cents off for refills." Dawn says, "Verna, what is that Christmas present? Is it a heater?" No, Dawn, it's a microphone. I can even whisper to you, Dawn. Jasmine says, "Yum," to freeze-dried mushrooms. Julie says, "No, not yet, but we already have 2 little ones running around. Our son just turned 3, and our girl will be 2 in March. We also want to get chickens and bees this year." Great. Jasmine says, "Dawn, it's a new microphone." C says, "Way to go, Dawn. You'll be rich soon." Yep. Annie says, "Good morning, Dawn." Dawn says to Jasmine, LOL, thank you. It looked like a glowing red heater." But when you whisper to Dawn, we all get to hear. Yep. Annie said, "No, Steve, she won't be rich. She will have hubby build more cages." Ain't that the truth? And Steve says, "Shush, Andy." Does this? "Oh my God, Berna, I had a mouthful of coffee when you whispered, and it almost came out my nose." But see, that's how good it picks it up. Yeah, there it came up that time. "Steve, I won't get rich for sure, but the bag of feed is paid for already that we just got. Hey, if you can keep your birds for free because you sell the eggs, then that's good." Dawn, Dawn says, "Andy, good morning." Jasmine says, "Domestead, wait until your pregnancy to get bees. For some reason, progesterone can cause a second serious allergic reaction to bee stings." She says he has to incubate about 100 quail. The local police department is requesting processed birds from me. Oh, wow. Julie says, the light issue. Do you guys put your light directly in the cage or just shine it on top of everything? Well, some people use the rope lights for Christmas trees, Christmas rope lights. I mean, you can do it any way you want, long as the light gets to the birds. On mine, I have one above and one to the side. Don says, Andy, I told hubby he could expand to hens only cages, and he said, no way. And he says, Steve, it's a trap. Amy says, Don and Steve, I'm about to be overrun with eggs and would love some sales tips. I'm an introvert. Well, Amy, you have your anytime anybody goes anyplace, make them take some eggs with them and sell them. Don says, Steve, that is so cool. The police wanting processed birds. What are they going to do with them? Well, of course, they're going to eat them. She says, my light is a single 60-watt bulb that is about 4 feet above the cages. And he says, Don, haha, it was too soon to ask. Little Ridge Farm says, howdy, howdy, howdy. How you doing, Mark? Julie says, Jasmine, thank you for the hint. I react terrible to everything over here. Fire ants make my hands swell up, and wasps send me straight to the ER. Got an EpiPen, though. Steve says, Andy, haha. Don says, Andy, he was just too excited. I had to mention it after that. Don says, Steven, I'll message you later. Do you have a picture of your setup? And he says, I use 70 strand of Christmas lights on top of my quail cage. 2 feet, 2 foot. Steve says, the detective said when I'm up to speed, he'll spread word for me. Guess he'll be my marketing. Wonder if it's Quail or Bail. Oh, you guys. Little Red says, I'm okay, still trying to get things together. Well, everything takes time, Mark. Everything takes time. Jasmine says, howdy, Mark. Don says, Amy, I had hubby take 2 dozen eggs in a cooler so they wouldn't freeze. He walked out of the CPA's office and into the Chinese restaurant. As soon as he got in there, all he heard was, I want. Aaron says, I'm back. Had to run and take a picture of I have some monies for a customer. Cool. Don says, I use LED rope lights on my cages. Jasmine says, hey, Aaron. You guys, I'm going to go get some more coffee and get rid of the stuffiness. Let's see. Don, thank you. Battery runner plug-in is what Domestel said. Amy says basically single, headed for a divorce, but we have some Asian markets. That's good. Aaron says, hey Jasmine. Lane says hi. Hi Lane. C says, refills anyone? He's good at getting coffee when I go and get coffee. Don says, Amy, he had to come home and get all the rest of them, and they want more. He tried to give them free, and they insist on paying for them. That is great. Little Ridge Farm says, Mark says, some of my YouTube family are going to be doing an auction and raffle to raise money for us. That's cool, Mark. Jen says, hello, Lane. John says to Julia, my cages are 8 feet long and 16 feet strand rope goes in, down, and back around each layer, plugged into a timer. Each layer plugged into timer. Jasmine says, that's awesome, Mark. Grafted Branch Home said, hey, Verna. Hey, Matt. How you doing? Look at my Christmas present. That's what I got for Christmas. C says, Amy, check that market for pricing, competition. Then go get you some Chinese food. If you set a couple of dozen on your table, your box will be empty when you leave. Matt says, morning, y'all. Dome said, Julia said, I need to fix the lighting ASAP. Thank you. That is helpful. Matt says, oh, how very cool. Yeah, Matt, what I like about it is listen to this. Matt, I can whisper and you can still hear me. That sounds great. Thanks for the ideas, everyone, Amy says. C says, remember when lighting? Have them come on before sundown so that the light is not light, dark light. And Andy's laughing. That must be her reaction to my whisper to Matt. So I got this from Zach and Jenna for Christmas. Because we had our Christmas last Wednesday. And I had little mama gave birth to 3 babies. And big mama's going to drop any day now. Matt says, I have red lights come on before and after the main lights for 30 minutes. Don says, listen to Steve. He knows how to sell. We have 90 miles away in St. Louis, the Asian market where Chinese pay $5 a dozen. So I know to say about $4.50. And he says, I have mine set to come on at 3 a.m. and go off at 10 a.m. Moon Outdoors says, got to run to the library. Later's all. Verna, I have a question for you. I'll message you later. Thanks. Sure, Moon. That'd be great. Dawn says, you do sound very good, Verna. Yep, even when I whisper, huh, Dawn? C says, I use a routine with Alexa. It will do a sunshine sunset stimulation. See, when my hydroponics garden turns off, I have Alexa at 50% on the overhead light. And then before I go to bed, I tell her, "Light off." Matt says, "Have a good day, Moon Outdoors." Moon Outdoors, have a blessed day. And he says, "That'd be good, Steve." Julia says, "Mike sounds expensive. Great gift." It is a great gift. He even said that I will have the better mic than all the other channels, including him. Don says, "My light comes on at 7 a.m. and off at 10 a.m., but my birds are under a roof and no sun gets near them in the winter." Well, Don, my birds are inside. They do have the best windows for lighting of this apartment, but yeah. Matt says, "Yeah, the sound is very, very good. Very cool." I agree. I thank Jenna and Zach for this gift. They really know what to do with me. Julia says, "Dawn, sounds like our setup. We have our cages under a roof next to the chicken coop." Andy says, "My quail are under a big tree, and with winter, it's gloomy in the morning here." And Matt's laughing. Oh, I just wish my arthritis would quit hurting. Can you guys hear that guinea pig? Eddie says, "I'm getting too many eggs. I can't use them all. Boy, it's hard not to put them in the incubator." Andy, you can put them in the incubator. You can freeze them. You can freeze dry them if you have the freeze dryer that you need to get from your, what is it, your dad or your grandpa. Don says, "The homestead mine are in a deep shade in the winter. I heard they need enough light to read by, and they can't read during the day unless I give them lights. LOL." Don says, "No, I don't hear the guinea pig." Well, it looks like it's, if you don't hear the guinea pig and the occasional crow, that means it's really doing good about getting rid of the extra sound. Aaron says, "Andy, put them in the incubator. I'm a bad influence." No, Aaron, you were thinking about the same thing I would have said, but I kept my mouth shut. Julia says, "Andy sounds like a good problem to have." Yes, it is. She says, "Don't ask her for the address. She'll give you a fake one. I got really cold when I want to help her get it." Seems like the sound is getting better as the stream is going along, Verna. It could be. It could be that I'm adjusting also to how I'm speaking. Julie says, "Verna, how many quail do you have?" Right now I've got 10. Yeah. I have to sex them today when I weigh them, because the quail get weighed and sexed on, Saturdays. On Fridays, there is weighing the guinea pig day. And those babies, just 2 days old, weighed a good amount. Uh, all of them was over 3 ounces and right around 3.5 ounces. Julie, wait a minute, let me see. And he says, I'm about to start putting the eggs I like the most, look wise, in the incubator and see if the hens will lay more like them. I agree. Julie asked, 10 hens? I don't know. They're jumbo whites. I haven't sexed them yet. And he says, Steve, but my dad is my Santa, LOL. John says, I only have 14 hens. Julie asks, do you eat your guineas too? Yes. That's why I call them Kai or Cavy, either one of the two. Or Quail, because they are my homestead animals. The only animal that is safe from eating is Lucy, because she's my service dog. She already provides more than one thing: companionship and medical aid. And she's pretty, so that's 3 things. Everything else in this apartment is, yeah, raised for food. She says, I eat pretty birds. So do I. Julie says, oh, wow, I never tried guinea pig before. Well, they eat it in South America, and some farms already are starting to do that here in the States. And Andy says, and she eats your scraps. Yep, she eats all my meat scraps. The guinea pigs eat my vegetable scraps. Oh, and little mama's babies are friendlier too. No, that wasn't a rooster. That was a guinea pig. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, there was a rooster and a crow too, just before the guinea pig. So yeah. Matt says, oh wow. See, Matt, I don't have to worry about going hungry. I have an open mind that when you're hungry enough, see, I've been hungry as a child, so I know what real hunger feels like. Well, you're lucky if you get a slice of bread with ketchup on it for the day. So, my mind is open, I'll try just about anything. Woman of Spirit says, "Blessings, all you beautiful Quail people. Blessings, Jan." C says, "James is mean. He wants to get eggs. He peels one raw and tried to tell me it laid soft. He did good. He kept the film intact. Such a jokester." And he says, "My Kai belly are getting fat too." Amy says, "If I had cages in a tier, could I put my bro pin on the top tier or should I put them outside? I have a repurposed rabbit hutch." You can put them on the top pin. It's as long as they can't see the hens, they'll be fine. Julie says, "So you have 10 quail that go in the pot and then you buy more or hatch?" No, 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 Julie. Whatever hens I have there, I will keep enough males to service those hens, and the extra roosters are the ones that go in the pot. Because I'm starting back up because I had just finished an experiment in the fall and called everything so I could start afresh. Dawn says, "Steve, that is too funny. I couldn't peel a raw egg without breaking the membrane. LOL." Jan says, "Now I have quail and gravy. LOL." Quail and gravy for breakfast over biscuits? Sounds good to me. The modern shit on the shingle. Julie says, "Ah, okay, gotcha." Yeah, I gotta get some more eggs because I want some jumbo wilds or some jumbo white-winged pharaohs. Amy says, "Now you have crowing guinea pigs, Verna? That takes talent." No, they're squealing guinea pigs, crowing quail, and cooing guinea pigs too. They squeal and coo. Yes, says, "That's right, Steve." Woman Spears says, "Ate a lot of water gravy as a kid." Well, my mom wasn't that good at cooking, so she didn't cook that back then. I was usually yeah. Dawn says, "Amy, I know I am halfway done with first cup of coffee, and I know a rooster sound when I hear it. I was not sleeping, LOL." Well, sometimes they get overlap each other, and I'm not really paying attention to them because 'cause I'm paying attention to you guys. No, Steve. She it on Shingo. Shit on the Shingo. I'm not monetized, so I don't care. Jasmine says, "All right, lovely ladies and friends, fun catching the live. My guests are about to arrive, so I gotta go. Have an awesome day, and I do think your gift is really dang cool, B." I agree, Jasmine. I am very thankful to Jenna and Zach for giving me such a beautiful Christmas present. Don says, "Question. When selling eggs, do the customers even care if they are standard size or jumbo size? I don't think so, but I would like to hear what you think." Don, I don't offer the choice. I mix them all together. Steve says, "Scat on a shingle." Matt says, "Have a good day, Jasmine." And he says, "Bye, Jasmine." Julie says, "Have a great one, Jasmine." And I say, "Have a blessed one, Jasmine." Woman of Spirit says, "Bye, Jasmine." Anyhow, Matt's laughing about scat on the shingle. Jasmine says, "Bye, Matt, Andy, Julia, Don, Watts." Andy says, "I don't see much difference in the jumbo eggs and standard egg size, really. You will when you get too many jumbos in a egg crate, because then they don't want to close. Squish the eggs, and it's hard to get them out." C says, "When they see jumbo, that comes in their expectations. If you mix them up, no choice, or do all standard and jumbo's only $1 more." Yeah. Andy says, "Enjoy your guest, Jasmine." Hey, Steve, next time we do the Zoom, I bet everybody will hear me then. She says, "I only have jumbo, so I rarely see small eggs." She says, "Yep, they will for sure. Zoom." I'll have to mute it when I'm not talking so that I don't override everybody with my talking back to the screen. Dawn says, I had to buy special egg cartons just for jumbo eggs. Well, find out the difference that it costs you to buy those special egg cartons and double that amount to sell your jumbo eggs. Mona Spears says, I give standard eggs to customers, same size they get at Asian markets. Keep large for me and sister. That's a smart way to do it, Jan. C says, I never did any of the Zooms. I didn't want to steal a place from someone who needed it. Yeah, but I'm talking about when we had the meeting on Zoom. And he says, I only have 9 jumbo hens. Most of mine are standard size quail. I can tell the difference in the eggs, but not much difference. Julie says, I bought cartons from my shire. Yeah, those are just standard. Those aren't the ones that easily feed. Oh, you mean our monthly meeting? Haha. Yeah, the monthly meeting we haven't had for a while. But we will soon. Aaron says, Steve, how many days left till QC? Steve says, Ed may have jumbo cartons soon. I bought jumbos to start with, and they've been out of stock ever since. I still have about 100 left. She says 224 days. If you ask Jesse Mills, it'll be sooner. Haha. John says the only place that guaranteed jumbo eggs fit was Northwest Quail Farm on Etsy, so I got them. Do they fit? Julie says, anyone here in Georgia? Nope, I'm in Southwest Ohio, about 15 minutes away from my shire. Aaron's in Louisiana. Steve's in Tennessee. Andy, I think, is in Missouri. I'm not, and Dawn, I think, is in Illinois. She says, I've been to Georgia, Savannah. Does that count? I'm in Mississippi. Oh, I thought you were in Tennessee, Steve. Mississippi, rather. John says they fit and are totally protected. That's cool, Dawn. And it says, Dawn, are the egg cartons clear or the paper ones? Ah. She says, I live in Memphis, Tennessee, and in Mississippi, just to keep the creditors confused. Julie says, wow, all over the place then. Yeah, we're all over the place. Don says, Andy, clear plastic snaps all around and little pegs that won't let them get crushed. That is cool. Julia says, Dawn, I'll check them out. Matt says, I am buying lots of quail supplies and cartons and plans on selling them around town soon. Andy said, that's cool, Dawn. You know, that's a good idea, Matt. Oh, and Matt, was it you the one that showed me about the brake bleeder for vacuum sealing a jar? Well, I got one. She says, "Mine came with rubber bands to keep the clothes, though I lost them long ago." Don says, "Steve hubby is from Memphis." Matt says, "Yeah, yes, yeah, they work great. See, I just got it last week, and right here it is." She says, "You should charge Matt. Blame him for the purchase." Yeah, he demonstrated it. Jan says, "Does anyone use Canva help feed? I just found a local feed store that will order for me." And Matt's laughing. And he says, "I misplaced my Quail scissors, so I decided to buy another one. About 12 more, LOL. Figure I can sell them with the eggs too." Kallenbach. Yeah, Kallenbach is good. Dawn says, "I will say I had to work my fingers into those snaps to hear each one pop. I think a man's fingers would be hard to get them closed." Yep. I think they make them mostly for small women. Matt says, "I offer my customers Quail scissors for $2 with eggs if they want. Good idea." She says, "Are you calling me a small woman?" If that's what you heard, then I can't stop you from hearing it. And he says, "I've been hearing a lot of good about that feed brand. They say the poop don't stink as bad with it." Julia says, "I had just ordered scissors." You know, you can also order scissors when you order your eggs from My Shire Farm. Dell says, it, Kalmbach is good feed. I use a feed farmed by Illinois farmers for Buckshot Farm Supply called Horizon Acres and love it. Julia says, "Verna, do you skin your birds or pluck?" If I'm in a hurry, if I got a lot of them to do, I skin them, but I have plucked, and it doesn't it you don't have to get the temperature as high as you do for chicken. I only brought it up to 135 degrees in the water, dipped them 10 times, and then took a towel and wiped the feathers off. She says, "If it's a new customer, I toss a free pair of scissors with 2 dozen purchase." See, that's exactly what I do. Dawn says, "Oh, I should offer scissors with the eggs. Only on new customers." Dawn. She says, "Just price it into your egg price." Matt says, "Never tried to pluck. Great tips. Thank you." It's just like when you do chicken, after you dunk them 10 times, yeah, try, wing feathers. If they come off easy, you're good to go. If not, dunk them a couple more times. And you just hold them by their feet and do it. Julia says, "Thank you. You're welcome. That's what I'm here for, answer all questions." Dawn says, "Got it, but all my customers are new right now." Are you getting names and addresses, Dawn? That way you can keep a kind of track. She says, "I've already sold one customer 3 pair of scissors. They keep losing them. Probably the bottom of their junk drawer." Yep, I hang mine on a rack above the sink. Matt says, "I'm going to try once it gets above freezing." I do it right in my kitchen, Matt, right at the and he says, "I switched to chicken layer feed for the winter. I had a bad year with the quail and wasn't getting much eggs. Now I'm overrun with eggs, so I may just stay with this feed." Julia says, "I will try that in 2 weeks." Good, Julia. And tell me how it worked for you. Matt says, "LOL, Steve. Yep, that's why I offer them for $2. Since people buy them every time, seems like LOL." Amy says, "We don't have anyone locally that will carry Kalmbach. The type I can get in central Ohio is Nature Serve Turkey Game Bird Starter from TSC or Purina Game Bird Crumble." Yeah, well, we know that if your birds suddenly stop laying and with no change, it could be their feed if you get it from TSC. Just add beans and what else was it that I said? Let me look at my notepad here. Not this book. Yeah, shortages that affect egg laying is lysine, methionine, and cysteine. You can use lentils and rice. That will help the birds get back to laying because those have the chemicals that the feed is missing. And he says the first time, wait a minute, go up. Julia says, "We'll definitely let you know." Great. Thank you, Julia. Dawn says, "Verna, hubby comes home and tells me I am logging them." That is wonderful, Dawn. Jan says, "Amy, my local store doesn't carry Kallenbach, but we'll order with no shipping fee." That is wonderful, Jan. Andy says, "The first time I bought scissors, I bought 14 pairs. I kept one pair out to use and put the pack away. I misplaced one pair and could not remember why I put the pack of the rest." You sound as bad as me, Andy. She says, "I can't afford Kallenbach, though. It can be an automatic chewy delivery." Julia says, "Did you need to get an egg candling certificate for selling quail eggs?" I know there are different regulations in different states. I've never heard of an egg candling certificate. I know a egg handling, and that's handling certificate you have to have in Ohio in order to sell them at flea markets and stuff. Matt says, "Thank you, Verna. I don't know what you're thanking me for, but you're welcome, Matt." Steve says, "Dawn, get their emails and send a reminder about once a month." Matt says, "Gotta go help my son with a school project. Have a good day, y'all. Have a good day, Verna." Matt, you all have a blessed day. Tell Farmer Casey I said hi. Julia says, "I ordered feed from Tractor Supply Game Bird Crumbles, but I am tired of paying for shipping, and the store tells me they can't get it in, online orders only." Julia, and Tractor Supply has made the delivery fee more expensive than a 50-pound bag of feed. And it says, "Bye, Matt." C says, "There's a few states that require the candling, though. Usually they offer an exception for quail." Matt says, "Will do." Julie says, "Yeah, GA requires that for chicken eggs, but don't have any courses listed." Well, it's easy to candle chicken eggs. Quail eggs are a little harder. You have to have a good candler like the IncuBrite. IncuBrite is great for quail eggs. Woman, Jan says, "Steve, Kallenbach is pricey, but I'm going to mix with other feed." Matt says, "Bye all. Have a blessed day, Matt." Julie says, "Yeah, I'll check out Kallenbach." Oh, y'all, on that birthday present I'm working on for somebody. I got it started at least. About quarter done. Julie says, IncuBrite is on my list. You can get IncuBrite Candler either on Amazon or myshirefarm.com. C says, Julia, just order online, delivered to store, no shipping fee. And he says, "That's pretty." Yeah, the green color, the green and blue colored yarn is called Deep Waters, and the dark one is called Eggplant. Dawn says, "Steve, I'll have hubby get their email addresses. Great idea." Amy says, "Bye, Grafted Branch. Thanks for stopping by. Bye, Matt." Steve, I think they had a shipping fee for both options, but I'll check again. And if you pay and pick up the feed, make sure they give you the right thing before you drive off, because they've messed out my order once, really bad. Gave me horse feed when I asked for quail feed. Don says, "I wish I could still crochet and knit. Had to quit 15 years ago because of arthritis in the fingers." Don, I'm having a lot of pain in this arm where I broke my wrist. So it's taken me 100 times longer, but I'm still doing it. Eddie says, "I'm not a Tractor Supply fan." Don says, "I got my IncuBrite from Amazon back when I started." Julie says, "Okay, I have a diaper to change. Was great talking to y'all. We'll try to join again." Julia, have a blessed day. C says, "If you select curbside store pickup, it is free. If you select standard delivery, it has a fee." Julia says, "Have a great weekend." Horse feed, LOL. Yeah, how am I gonna feed a horse up in a upstairs an apartment? That makes a lot of sense. Julie said, "Thank you." C says, "Verna, you gotta do what you gotta do." Don says, "I will listen while I fix breakfast. No eggs to eat today. Yay." Amy says, "Crochet is an excellent homestead skill." Yep. Well, you see on my bed, you see that with the red stripe on it? That's a blanket that I crocheted. And for Christmas, I gave all 5 people in the family a pair of booties that I crocheted, and they loved it because they were warm and soft. And he says, "The horse can stand outside and eat from your window." Haha. No, because I'm in the upstairs apartment. He'd have to be a giraffe to eat from my window. And he says, "That would be a tall horse." Jan says, "Phone call. We'll watch later. Blessings all around." Blessings, Jan. Dawn says, "I used to order 1 ton of bird feed back when I raised exotics that was trucked once a month from Chicago. I had to liquidate my birds when I called in an order and they sold out to the Purina dog food." Oh, no. And he says, "They gave you horse feed because they knew Quail eat like horses." Yeah, if those should have looked to see if those, no, because I didn't have the guinea pigs then. But I think that was Timothy hay pellets, and that would have been great for the guinea pigs, but I didn't have the guinea pigs back then. And he says, "Oh, yeah, I have a 2-story house, but half my house is underground." And it says, "Good thing Quail don't waste feed." They don't if you keep a tray underneath the feeding trough where they throw the feed, then you can just dump it right back into them the next morning. You don't even have to sift it, they sift it themselves. She says, "I did pick up pellets once by mistake, which was a big mistake. It took me 3 months to use it mixed with the crumble. Too much waste for me." Amy says, "Andy, Verna would have to have a giraffe, not a horse." Exactly. Aaron says, "Andy, I live so far south that if I dig down 2 feet, I hit water." Andy says, "I wasn't thinking of an above ground, an all above ground building." Yeah, apartment complex is all above ground. There's no basement here because we're right by the river. Steve says, "I made a waste free feeder and they can still waste." Yep, they can. Where there's a will, there's a way. And that could be good or bad. Yeah, I could just see me trying to lead a horse up the stairway. We both wouldn't fit. It might fit through my hallway, but would have a hard time getting into the animal room. And it would have to wear a poop bag all the time. Pew! She says, "I picked up a flat aquarium heater for my water trough and an outlet that activates it at 35 degrees. That's great." Amy says, "Berta, my feathered heads say thanks. They love bean sprouts." That's great because I'm gonna be giving my birds some today. After I weigh and handle them all. See, last week, the fattest one was 9 ounces. Let's see how big it is now. Unless it's the one that I called because she was trying to kill everybody else. And he says, "I used an old rabbit's cage and put the J feeders with wire in them in the same spot as it was for the rabbits. The quail have to reach their heads up to eat. I don't get too much waste from them. That's good. C says, I'm going to start some sprouts this weekend, which I've already said 10 times previously. Steve, go start them right now. And as soon as you get them started, come back and tell me that you got them started. Because no sense putting it off. If you're going to do it now. If you got the tower, it only takes about 3 minutes. She says, no chores before coffee, haha. That isn't a chore. It only takes is the time it takes you to get a cup of coffee, you can be getting sprouts. Another excuse. I got to dig for my seeds. And he says, me too, Steve. Every time I'm on the live, I say, oh, I should, but I don't. Then go do it now, Andy. It only takes you a minute and you won't miss much. I promise you that much. And he says, I had to dig it all out too. So he says, I can teach you all about procrastination. I'm the prince of procrastination. I'm the queen of procrastination. But I'm also trying to inspire other people. Because right now, my freeze dryer is sitting empty. Don says, my quail just finished their sprout lentils yesterday. I need to start more. Andy says, it will take hours to dig it all out. Excuses, excuses, excuses. Andy says, I have a shirt that says, if it wasn't for the last minute, I never get anything. See, Steve says his freeze dryer's empty too. Mine is still in Utah. And he says, my freeze dryer is empty too. Have you got yours on layaway, Andy? I know Steve has his on layaway. Or is yours still at your dad's? You may want to get a newer one. Because the new ones now are, with all the updates it's been going through, they don't, I can take room temperature food and put it in there, and by this time tomorrow, it'll be done. And Steve says, Andy's is on layaway at Daddy's. Andy says, no, it's at my dad's. Steve says, if she had given me the right address, it wouldn't be empty. Well, I couldn't run anything yesterday because I was running the water distiller. Andy laughs. Amy says, I jumpstart my sprouts and soak them overnight or a few hours before putting them in the trays. Amy, I soak mine for 24 hours and then I drain them and then that's it. I don't go any further. I don't put them in trays because I don't go for microgreens. I go for sprouts. Don says, what kind of freeze dryers do you have? My freeze dryers are Harvest Right medium size. It has 4 trays. Andy says, my Excalibur dehydrator will be jealous when I get it. My Excalibur dehydrator is in my closet. I've used it one time. C says, mine will be Harvest Right medium. Are you going for the black one or the white one, Steve? I got the white one. Andy says, "Harvest right." I think it has 5 or 6 trays. That would be the large one. You have to on the large one, you have to have a dedicated circuit for it. Dedicated 20 amp circuit for it. Dawn says, "Amy, I soak for sprouts. I do microgreens hydroponically right on the trays." She says, "I challenge my son-in-law to a freeze dryer dehydrator contest when I get my black one." That's great, Steve. And he says, "It's stainless steel color." Yeah, but how old is it, Andy? If it's over 3 years old, you want a newer one. They can do all the candies and everything. And the newer ones freeze dry quicker than the older ones did. 'Cause it's all sensor controlled. Yeah, Steve, you're right when you say an older freeze dryer is better than no freeze dryer. Yeah, but see, she doesn't have no freeze dryer because being at her dad's, it ain't hers yet. She has to go and get it yet. And he says, "My mom passed away in 18 and they got it about 2 or 4 years before." Yeah, that one's gonna be kinda old. 'Cause that's at 6 to 8 years old, so 3,100 is $3,100. Yep. And he says, "Maybe I'll just move in with him, LOL." Unless he's got a farm, I'd do it. Yeah, Steve agrees with me. Heck, if he has a farm, I'd do it. He says he need Steve says, "I need a sugar daddy." Someone was teasing me. Papa the builder was teasing me because I gave him and his wife a whole bunch of freeze-dried stuff for Christmas. He says he was thinking that when I get tired of it, he'd just buy it from me. And I told Papa, I says, "Well, you build me a tiny house here on the property," and I says, "Then you can have my freeze dryer." Don says, "I have an old Nesco dehydrator I use all the time." And he says, "Maybe I'm ignorant, but I have dehydrated, but never freeze dried. What are the benefits? Help me out with everyone's big brain, please." Okay, Amy, the dehydrator uses heat, and that kills a lot of your vitamins. You only get about 60 to 70% of the nutrients in the food. With a freeze dryer, it uses ice and it draws out the water out of the food. Dehydrator might last 3 to 5 years of the food, depending on what it is. A freeze dryer can last up to 25 to 35 years with the food, and you're still keeping 90 to 95% of the nutrients in that food. So that's the advantage of a freeze dryer over a dehydrator. A dehydrator changes the food, whereas a freeze dryer, it just draws out all the water, and then when you rehydrate it, it comes back to the consistency it was just before you dehydrated it. And he says, "I love my Excalibur dehydrator. I use it all the time. The only time it turned off is when I go to my dad's for a few months, haha." C says, "You can freeze dry soup. The dehydrator, it does not remove 100% of the liquid. Dehydrator cooks and changes the food that can't be returned to normal state." Exactly, Steve. And he says, "I will probably use them both still." Well, let me show you something. I had some leftover beef, a little on the tough side. I cut it up in bite-sized pieces. It was cooked. I cut it up in bite-sized pieces and dehydrated it. And this is what it looks like. There's no water in it whatsoever. And it looks just like the meat. But this is Lucy's dog treats. And he says, "I'll probably use them both still." And he says, "Jerky is awesome." John says, "I dehydrate a lot of herbs and plants at 95 degrees. Amy says, "Verna, have you asked Papa about the Viking house?" It was on the way to being done in Quail. No, I need one a little bit bigger than that. That's more like his doghouse, like when he needs time alone. C says, "Beef jerky is better in the dehydrator." It may be, but in the freeze dryer, I mean, look at this, you guys. These are beef cubes. I can't break that one. Too small for me to get hold of. Let me see about this one. You hear that? And Lucy just loves it. I mean, I could even eat that right now, but I don't have any teeth. And he says, "Rabbit jerky is delicious too." And he says, "Yes, I have and she says, "I have dehydrated venison jerky." She says, "We put some taco seasoning in hamburger and it was delicious dehydrated." And he says, "Quail jerky will be next." Write down your recipes and put those in Quail in the kitchen, Andy. Oh, wow. It's 11:44 already, you guys. There's something in my eye. No, so I'll be doing my first guinea pig sometime between now and Monday and see how that goes. So I have to figure out how I'm going to do it. Andy says, "I do a lot of dehydrated leftover taco meat. It's good added to top ramen." See, I do all my leftover soups because when I make soup, I only want to eat it 1 or 2 days, and don't wanna eat it after that. Then it goes in the freeze dryer, and that way I got backup food for days I don't feel like cooking. Amy says, "Andy, do you raise rabbits?" Amy, Andy does raise rabbits. C says, "Remember when you do the kai that your camera may not be waterproof. Tears." I'm not gonna film doing and killing them, at least not the first time. I will probably take a video of it after I'm done. And he says, "I have one recipe I like for jerky the most." Yes, I do raise rabbits. Steve, I don't think I'll cry. I'll be sad, but I don't think I'll cry. She says, "Andy is storing Verna's rabbits." Yeah, Andy's gonna be bringing me some Havana rabbits to QuailCon. But Andy raised more than just Havanas. She has a few other types too. Andy says, "What variety?" And I thought George was storing Verna's rabbits. No, not George. Andy's got my Havanas. She's gonna bring it to QuailCon for me. If George had my rabbits, I would have picked them up Wednesday. She says, "QuailCon, 224 days until 9/2 in Ohio, where the live will be in person." Yep. And he says, "It's brown sugar, soy, liquid smoke as the base, and add a little of anything else that sounds good to it." I got one in there crying. She says, "The anything else sounds good. Gets me in so much trouble." Yeah, a little bit of ghost pepper, a little bit. And he says, "I have silver foxes, full-size Rex, Havanas, and I still have a few mini Rex and lion heads." And it's a Havanas that she's bringing to me. She's bringing me a couple breeding sets. Oh, Steve, Zach was surprised when I showed him my guinea pigs. He didn't know I had 2 mating pairs. He thought I only had 1 male and 2 females. She says, "I have jalapenos and ghosts in the freezer for the pickled eggs. The freeze dryer would have been great to have used for that." Yep. I got some peppers in the freezer that when I put my batch on today, I can slide them in. Good morning, Ed. Ed says, "Good morning, all." Well, you guys know that when Echo goes off, that means it's time for me to go off.
This might answer your question. Some signs of nut spoiling include when it develops an off odor, flavor, or appearance. Or
Echo,
develops mold.
stop. She says, "Good morning, Ed. How's the scissor shipment?" And he says, "I decided to let go of the mini Rex and lion heads. It's hard to do." John says, good morning, Ed. Andy, what do the lion heads look like and how big do they get? Andy says, good morning, Ed got bait. Ed get bait. Today's Wayne Quail Day. Yesterday was Wayne Koi Day. And you got at least till I had this cigarette, Lucy. Yeah. So go lay down while I don't have your can up here anymore. That says egg scissors are just fine tucked in their boxes, LOL. Only sold 30 out of 300. Where did you get the 300 at, Ed? And how expensive was it? She says, oh, it was the egg carton that are en route. And he says, if anyone keeps quail outside, are they in the barn or shed? I want to move the garage cages outside in good weather, but I had a hawk hanging off my cages last year. It didn't get in, but it wouldn't leave. Yeah, and that hawk would keep your birds from laying eggs. Andy says, I will send you some pictures on Facebook. My lion heads are not show. Mine get kind of bigger, about 5-ish pounds. Oh, that's about the same size as the Havanas, right? Ed says, I imported them from the manufacturer. Amy says, hi, Ed. And Ed says, hi. She says, mine are outside. Top is covered with vinyl skirting. Amy says, I love my mini Rex I had. They are clowns. Andy says, my cages are outside in the open under the trees with roofs on them. John says, my quail are out on my porch in predator-proof cages with a roof and under a roof screened in porch. I had a hawk sitting on the garage roof 8 feet from the porch. Any predator can go through screen. Yeah, they can. And he says, I love my mini Rex too. She says, I have too many crows hanging around. No hawks for me. Yeah, crows are smart thieves. And he says, but I got the full size Rex now, so I decided to keep them. I was working on tricolor mini Rex. Vermont Quail. Hey, Bruno, how you doing? She says, the crow stole some eggs once I left on top of the cage. I wonder if they ate or sat on them. Haha. They more than likely ate them. Bruno says, good, and you? Bruno, I'm crazy as ever. Look what I got for Christmas. Pretty neat microphone, huh? She said, Bruno said, cool. She says, I got to make me a sign like Bruno's for the street. And he says, my mini Rex helped me learn rabbit genetics. That is cool, Andy. Thumbs up. Thank you. You know, I only need 5 more thumbs up, but I only got 5 more minutes. But at least I got 15 today. That's good. You guys hear all that crying? They're wanting attentions. C says, if Ed does one, we'll have 17. Yep. Don says, I heard it, and it was not roosters. No, those were all koi. And he says, Quail genetics is all worded differently, LOL. Yeah, I don't like technical terms. I don't like labels, so I don't go into genetics. And it says, not a rooster this time. You're right. Those were a whole bunch of koi. Steve says, Quail genetics for me is like playing Scrabble with no balls. I agree, Steve. That says, I already did mine, Steve. Then maybe it was Bruno who didn't do his thumbs up. So, a rundown. And he says, he got it in now. We got 17. No matter what you see. Bruno says, yep, I did. Don says, I did mine last night when I hit the notification. Okay. So this is 2 trays of celery, diced celery. This is 1 tray of sliced bok choy. And this is 1 tray of sliced mushrooms. And it says, I will let other people play with the genetics. I could care less. Don said, yum. And he says, I have figured out rabbits don't know how to read. They give me all the slim odds every time I try to breed for something. Haha. Now, at 4 weeks, last week when I weighed the quail, they went from 6.3 ounces to 9.3 ounces with the average of 7.7 ounces. Let's see what the difference is this week, because that was on the 14th that I weighed them. And today's the 21st. And Wednesday during live, we had 3 cavies born from little mama. They're all black with 2 of them have a little white spot on their head. One of them, the way the hair goes, makes it look like it has a little wing on its forehead. C says, funny how that works, Andy. Andy says, I like learning now. Not so much when I was in school, haha. Amy says, I just put the colors together that I think are pretty. I like the blonde and the dark red. John says, Verna, are any of your other guineas pregnant now? Yes, big mamas do any day. I was going to weigh her yesterday, and I want to grab her. My hand slipped under her belly, and there was too many babies there. And I said, nope, 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 not going to touch her. And see, I had weighed little mama the Friday beforehand, and she felt pregnant, but she didn't feel that pregnant. But big mama feels big, big. Don says, are you going to process the mamas after they wean the babies? I don't think so, because they're already proven mamas. And I know little mama got pregnant Wednesday after she gave birth because little Papa, is the first time I saw him getting active. Andy says, Amy, yeah, I do agree. I can keep from getting colors I don't like. John says, oh, that makes sense. They are not like quail. You know, quail, you have a faster turnaround. The time it takes me for the pregnancy of one guinea pig, it is, you can have an egg hatch and almost ready to lay during that same time. And since my timer went off, that means it's time for me to go because Lucy's got to go potty. So y'all have a blessed day and hopefully see you tomorrow night at my Shire's live stream. Amy says there are several varieties I can't tell apart, sparkly and the fees. And everybody's saying bye. Everybody have a blessed day and thank you for coming. And I'll see you tomorrow evening.